Great, folks. I'm going to call the regular Little Cal River Basin meeting to order for Wednesday, July 15th. I'd ask everybody to put their phone devices on stun while we're doing this. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Cheer. Next up is a roll call. Here.
Tom Gosecki.
Here.
Anthony Brodniks.
Present.
Dave Castellanos.
Here.
Ron Ware.
Here.
Jenny Washburn. Here. Robert Ochi.
Here.
Katie Fesco. Here. Lavon Whitaker.
Present.
All right. Next on the agenda is the election of a chairman. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Vice Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to elect Tom Wichlinski as chairman of the board.
Second.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Mr. Lambert, we're gonna have a roll call vote, right?
Are there any other nominations?
Oh, I'm sorry, any other nominations? My bad.
Okay.
Is there a
Going once? Yeah, there was. Going twice? Anybody else?
Nope.
Next up?
Tom Wichlinski.
Yes. Well, did I vote? I'm sorry.
Yes. Tom Gosecki.
Yes.
Anthony Brodniks.
Yes.
Dave Castellanos.
Yes.
Ron Ware.
Yes.
Jenny Washburn. Yes. Robert Ochi.
Yes.
Katie Fesco. Yes. Lavon Whitaker.
Yes.
All right, being that I am now the chairman, the opening of vice chairman is needs to be voted on as well, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Robert Ochi as vice chairman.
Second.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations? Being there's none, a roll call vote?
Tom Wichlinski.
Yes.
Tom Gosecki.
Yes.
Anthony Brodniks.
Yes.
Dave Castellanos.
Yes.
Ron Ware.
Yes.
Jenny Washburn. Yes. Robert Ochi.
Yes.
Katie Fesco.
Yes.
Lavon Whitaker.
Yes.
Being done.
Right.
We're gonna move to the next item on the agenda. Statements to the board from the floor regarding any agenda item here. Is there anybody that'd like to make a statement regarding what is on the agenda here? Okay, going once, going twice. All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of the June 17th, 2026 meeting minutes. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from June 17, 2026.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mrs. Lambert?
Tom Wichlinski.
Yes.
Tom Gosecki.
Abstain.
Anthony Brodniks.
Abstain.
Dave Castellanos.
Yes.
Ron Ware.
Yes.
Jenny Washburn. Yes. Robert Ochi.
Yes.
Katie Fesco.
Yes.
Lavon Whitaker.
Yes.
Next item is chairman's report. We had quite a bit of rain the last month and a half or month. And I just want to thank all our partners along the river basin for all their assistance and making sure that blockages and obstructions have been cleared. And fortunately, we got through the bulk of the bad rain, and I won't say we're unscathed, but everything seems to be moving the way it should be. So I want to just thank everybody that rolled up their sleeves and helped us out here. That's what I got on that. Mr. Repay, the executive director's report is the next item.
Yep, I mean, you hit the main topic for the last month. We've been dealing with rain nonstop. Most of the contracts that we have had to pause except for Kennedy Avenue and the Liverpool project. Liverpool project is in its final walkthrough. We're gonna do that next week, so if anyone wants to do that, well, welcome to, I think it's next Wednesday. Kennedy Avenue, Justin's here. If you have any questions, particularly about certain parts of Kennedy Avenue, but if you've driven by there, you've seen NIPSCO putting the poles up or redoing the poles, and then they're breaking up the concrete, and people are really happy with the traffic. And I mean, it's going along. There's been some hiccups, but and I know, Robert, you had some other questions about some particular reports, that we could get those to you. Whatever you can get with. Right here, there he is.
Yeah.
You want me to introduce you? Sandbar modification picked up again today. Now that the weather is dry, they should be out of there by Friday. A revenue bond for the construction of Kennedy Avenue sold today. Our interest rate was 3.7, so that's pretty good considering all the other things in the market. The US 41 pump station and gate project, which is by Wicker Park, and there's a couple by Optimus, that will begin August 3rd, according to their schedule. With rain, everyone's sort of projects are getting pushed back, and so we got pushed back as a part of theirs, them not finishing another issue. We've been really focused on a lot of NDOT issues, namely, and Tom, the chairman, has been at these meetings, mainly the intersections of Kennedy and NAS Boulevard and how they drain or don't drain. So we've been working with Superior Construction, Burke Engineering, Structure Point, and then also NDOT to get that fixed. So we're going to do some investigative work, and then we're going to come back to you with a plan, and hopefully we were told at least that possibly if there's any large capital expenditure that needs to happen, they would put it in the state budget. At least, Tom, that's the way I understood it.
That's the way I understood.
So we'll hopefully hold them to that. But what our opinion is, it needs to be fixed. We're going to get blamed for it. So we need to fix it to make sure that 250,000 vehicles don't end up on city streets and destroy those roads.
Just, how long have I been asking for that?
A long time. We actually been asking for that pump station. So we got the US 41 last year. We're going to get the Kennedy Avenue one, but we told them we didn't really necessarily want it until they fixed the flashing light and the pump that isn't working. But that's all a part of the investigation that we're doing with Burke and NDOT. So thankfully, NDOT is going to help us with the maintenance of traffic, which is going to be a large expense for us. So they're going to actually put out their actuators out there to help us while Superior does their work. Tonight we have the collaborative giving a presentation. I told them that it was going to be 95 degrees, so they have to be brief. And they want to give you just a brief update. You guys already have in your packet that I sent out on Friday, just some basic information, and then they're going to get into more specific issues and comments that they need, I guess, direction on, lack of a better word. Also had the opportunity to speak with the city of Hobart, Mayor Huddleston and his staff about their priorities going forward with respect to Lake George and what we're going to do with the dam. And so his priority is the dam right now, and we're waiting on the boring to be done by AES, who's going to do the boring. The problem is, or the complication is, we're going to have to put a barge out there. So it takes a little bit of permitting, but it should be done in a month as far as the borings. And then we'll see if their proposed design, that being SEH's proposed design, will actually work. And so that's really it in a nutshell. Besides, it rained a bunch, and to your point, thank all of our partners, NDOT, Hammond, Highland, Gary, Munster, like everyone was on it, and it was a lot of rain, and now hopefully we can get a little bit dry so we can finish up some of these projects. So that I'll take questions.
Did we
Mr.
start?
Chairman, I have one. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Broadnex.
Dan, you mentioned NDOT said they were going to put some cost into the budget, or I guess some estimates into the state budget, but it sounds like we're paying for the NDOT issues. I just wasn't clear on that.
We're paying for the investigative side, so we're going to try to see if we can find a better way for that water to get out of the interchange between the boulevard and Kennedy. And so if we do find something, and I will tell you, I believe there'll be a need for a pump station at the boulevard on the northeast corner of the boulevard. There's a vault there already. They have a sump pump there. It isn't super effective, but if that is the final determination by our engineer, we are going to present that to our folks at the state and see if they'd be willing to put it in the budget for funding.
Okay, so
Otherwise,
we're paying for the testing, and if there's a solution, they'll pay for the solution.
that's what it was said.
Okay.
You know, we're going to do the investigation. We're going to see if we can solve it through me. They believe they can do it by regrading the ditches. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the solution, but that's why we're going to get a third party here to look at it and
Okay,
give us a
clear,
idea of what they want to do.
clear. Thank you.
Just for your edification, Anthony, we're not sure how often these were maintained, checked,
Hmm,
because we've never been in them up until the time we opened them when they had the problem on 94 a few weeks ago.
right.
And that's when they finally acquiesced and said, you guys can go ahead and
Kinda
maintain these for
Help
us.
us or take over. Yeah, okay.
Some of you have seen the plans. The drainage is pretty flat. The pipes are flat. There's not much flow going.
As we say we live in Lake
Yeah,
Michigan leftovers, right?
it's 1 inch from invert to out. So you've also got Tom's point where what we're gonna do is jet them and then videotape them to make sure that they're in good working order. And so that they're actually functioning the way they should. We're not sure when that's ever been done before.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question along.
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
So with that work that we're going to do, and if we do the upfront cost for the investigative engineering /
Yep.
or the state would jump in, will you add that to Project Tracker as an item to keep tally on?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
There was a subsequent meeting at the NDOT.
Yeah, the NDOT traffic, Foreman Traffic Center.
Yeah.
Where it's like the hub of,
I think there was a general feeling that this needs to be addressed immediately. And
Hopefully they see the urgency.
I think they see
I think there was some come to Jesus kind of.
It's about time.
Anybody else?
Chair, yeah.
Questions?
So, yeah,
Go ahead.
Dan, can you speak a little bit to the quarry and how much water it's
Yeah.
being stored and all that? Just for the public's edification.
The quarry was 94% full. All the media got on it. It was 7.4 billion gallons. It holds just over 8 billion gallons. The way it helps us is Thorn Creek and Little Cal sort of meet up in Cal City, Dalton area, Thornton, and it relieves the pressure off of us. And so when there is no relief, when that's full, that means the river will rise much quicker than what it normally does. That was put online in 2015. It has never been this high before. I think they were averaging about 200 million gallons processing it to get it back into Thorn Creek. So it's going to take some time. The last time I checked earlier this week, I think it was at 74%. Down it will be in August sometime, assuming that there is no large rain event before they can get it down to 0. But for like folks in Dalton and Linwood and all that, that's combined sewage overflow. So instead of that going in someone's basement, it's going into the quarry. So for our standpoint, it's the river water. For those residents on the south side of Cook County, it's really their relief valve.
Prior to 2015, probably.
Prior to 2015, they didn't have a relief valve. So during the 2008 flood, there was no relief valve. Even during our largest rain event before that, which I think was 2019, we didn't get to 94% full. So every dry day helps us get a couple 100 million gallons of storage, which isn't a bunch, but take it when we can get it.
The 94% is what it peaked at, and then we're down to
Correct.
74.
Which
Okay.
was 7.4 billion gallons. It's now at 60, I think, 60, 70%. I haven't looked at it. Once it got down off of the highs, it's sort of like the media just doesn't get excited anymore. They don't want any part of it.
You said it was mixed with sewage?
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you resolve that?
They have a treatment plant that they have to process it just like they do every day, like if we're in here,
Even here.
they have to process it through and It's a long
I
process.
think I even saw a news story over here about it where the people living close by were smelling it. So,
Oh, yeah.
Well, we have CSO lines just for the public certification. Different municipalities have CSO lines.
Pulsing areas.
Yeah, but
The old
they go to the treatment center, same as.
Yeah, there are CSOs within our system.
Yeah.
But there's strict reporting of when it happens. Which is why when we have to get a clean water application permit on one. So, the last thing is when we just got it today, we got.
Dan, I have one question, just for the public's
Yeah.
sake. For the overflow of the water, would you let the public know that the Grand Calumet is not our responsibility with the flooding that's been happening in the Gary and East Chicago area?
That's correct. Grand Calumet's a separate water basin than us, where there's Kankakee, there's Grand Calumet, and there's Little Cal, so it all flows differently. Well, and I will tell you this, most people didn't flood because of rivers. They flooded because either the sanitary lines backed up or the combined sewers just got overwhelmed. Like it happened in Hammond, their power went out. That happens. Gary, I think there was a pump station that went down actually a month ago when I wasn't here really on time. They had a problem over on Grant Street. So it happens, but no flooding, overtopping, I should say, happened with respect to our river. And I don't think the Grand Calumet overtopped either. That would be a heck of an occurrence for that. So most of the time when people say they flood,
Right.
they got water in their basement, they got sewage in their basement, and it's because the lines were too full of water and
Well, it's good.
Material.
It's just good to know, let the public know that we're not responsible for that particular river and area.
Yep.
And for the property damage that is done to those homeowners.
that's it.
Anybody else? I got a quick question. On the east end, we were gonna do some borings. What's the timing on that?
August for the borings, the 82 borings into the levee, and final report in January of 27. That's required. I mean, that's everything after they do all the testing and geological but the borings themselves, I believe, should be, that's what we drill into the levee to make sure the material of the levee is what it should be. That should be complete. I think it's October. I'm sure someone will correct me.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right, moving on. The next item on the agenda is the finance report and the approval of claims for July of 2026.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the claims in the amount of $563,817.35 for the month of July.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Mr. Repay.
Most of this is, some of it is emergency response. First response maintenance was the grass cutting, and they also manage the gates in Gary when they start backflowing. Northern Indiana Mechanical took out a couple blockages at Calhoun and Clark, and I believe the railroad tracks by Burr. Great Lakes Electrical Maintenance is our contractor for our pump station, so you got to figure they were pretty darn busy the past 30 days, which they were. We have Garcia, who, by the way, I've been sending you the drone photos. That is invaluable for $9,658.75. Though that's a place where we couldn't get to a lot of these places, so they took the drone up and flew it for us. We thought there was a blockage at 61st on Turkey Creek. We thought there was a blockage on Grant. So it was a lot quicker for us to take a look at it that way. And then, of course, done at Bay for $263,310.56. That's for pay number 2 for Kennedy Avenue Bridge.
I had a question regarding, is this MLK culvert, is that designing?
It's designed, we're waiting for, we notified Gary for the permits so that for the closure of the road, it's gonna take a closure.
What's the time? Do we have a timing on that yet or not?
I would hope to start bidding it after this meeting and awarding it in August.
I was gonna ask the same question about that bill. And that's all been tracking it? It didn't look, is that the first payment to Garcia for that work?
No, they've already had it. They submitted it to Gary. Gary had some changes that they'd like to see. So this is probably pay 2 or 3.
That we've been making the payments on.
Correct. Because
The
at
bill
first,
that have paid to date, I didn't see it. Maybe I
Yeah.
missed it.
at first, and this started in the previous administration, not under the Melton administration. The first administration didn't want us to go at it. And so they now want us to do it. So that we have to update a little bit and then submit it to them for their Board of Works for their approval. And I also should probably hit on the City of Hammond reimbursement. That was the one for 179th Street. We had I think it was an agreement up to 150,000 not to exceed, and it only came in at just over $81,000.
I have a question, follow-up question
Yeah.
with regards to that. Are we going to anticipate that cost is going to be absorbed by the bond issue?
I wasn't going to put that in there, no. I wasn't.
It's kind of an indirect.
It's indirect.
Yeah.
It helps with the traffic flow into that area if you've been in that intersection, which I know you have. You drive it every day.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
you made a mention of the first response with the grass cutting. Is this something that we can anticipate going on twice a month moving forward at these locations by the contractor?
I would not in all the locations. Like for the emergency response, no. The Colfax and the Calhoun area are a little bit larger, and it really depends on the amount of water that's falling out of the sky, how fast that stuff grows. Because we're now on cycle 3. So we're on cycle 3 right now of the rest of the levee. So it's just
And that bill is generally $25,000.
7,000.
And that's the whole system. That was my question, and that's 3 or 4 times that we've somewhat budget for or account for. And this seemed new, the grass cutting in these areas. So is that something we need to account for moving forward type of thing as an estimate, throw a dart at and keep track?
I would anticipate a little bit less after this time.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we have a motion and a second. Mrs. Lambert?
Tom Rosinski,
Yes.
Tom Bestaki,
Yes.
Anthony Brodnick,
Yes.
Dave Castellanos,
Yes.
Ron Ware.
Yes.
Jenny Ortburn,
Yes.
Robert Ochi,
Yes.
Katie Fesco,
Yes.
Levon Whitaker.
Yes.
Next up on the agenda, we're gonna have a presentation from our collaborative with an update.
I think I already gave you the introduction, so you got the floor.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to present to you tonight. We've had some exciting developments over the past couple of months and wanted to touch base with the commission to make sure that you're all aware of all the exciting stuff that's happening. We wanted to start with a quick round of introductions.
I'm Peter Goodspeed. I'm the Restoration Program Director with the Wetlands Initiative.
Victoria Whittick, I'm the Illinois-Indiana Conservation Manager for Audubon Great Lakes.
I'm Craig Zanstra, the Superintendent of Planning and Natural Resources for Lake County Parks.
Okay, so before we jump into the details, just wanted to give you sort of a lay of the land of what we're going to talk about. And to the end's point, we're going to try to go through this really quickly. So we're trying to hit about 10 minutes, so we'll go quick. But we're going to walk through the vision, our partnership, and then the phases of work that we're undertaking. There's 3 of them: restoration, planning, and implementation. Then we're going to walk through some opportunities and challenges and leave off with some investments and funding request updates. And so let's start with the vision. Paul Botts, the Executive Director of the Wetlands Initiative, has estimated that once complete, the 2,000 acres of wetlands restored on this 10-mile stretch of the West Branch of Little Calumet River will arguably be one of the largest urban wetland restorations in American history. If we're just thinking about the Chase Street Complex and Marshalltown Marsh Complex, plus all the others, that's more than twice the size of New York City's Central Park for our region's residents. And so this vision, I think, is really critical for our partnership. It inspires us every day. It pushes us forward. And we're undertaking this ambitious work together because we really do believe in this vision. And so with regard to the partnership, birds of a feather flock together. We are represented by a range of organizations with a variety of skills, expertise, and resources. The Little Calumet River Basin Development Commission is, of course, one of the most critical partners in the collaboration. We're also represented by Audubon Great Lakes, the Wetlands Initiative, Lake County Parks and Recreation, along with the City of Gary, NIPSCO, the Nature Conservancy, and the Calumet Collaborative. And we have been active since about 2019. I know we've got some new folks in the room, so we just wanted to make sure you had the full history. We've been active since about 2019 on collaborative planning, fundraising, and management to realize that vision. We're trying to restore healthy, functional, and publicly accessible green spaces within the river levee system for the benefit of all the region's residents, all of our wildlife, and within that capacity, enhancing as much as we can the charge of the commission, which is flood protection. So in terms of the phases of work, there are three. There's the restoration phase, the planning phase, and the implementation phase. And we're going to walk you through each of these phases in sequence. So when we're talking about restoration, we're specifically referencing 4 sites. There's 3 shown on the slide, 4 sites on the corridor. When we're talking about planning, we're talking about really large wetland complexes. There's 2. There's the Marshalltown Marsh Complex, which is 400 acres, and there's the Chase Street Complex, which is in the beating heart of the river corridor, right in the center there, 800 acres. And then in the implementation phase, once we get beyond that planning, we've got a sample here of some of the types of projects that we would be aggressively fundraising for. The implementation phase is where the price tag starts to really skyrocket. And we've got a lot of ideas in mind about how we are going to hit those targets and get those implementation projects implemented in a phased approach. And I'm going to hand it over to Peter now to walk through the restoration phase.
All right, thank you, Victoria. So in discussing the restoration phase of this work, the on-the-ground work to date has involved restoring 3 sites: Highland Rookery, Grant Street Wetland, MLK South Wetland, and we've recently taken on the management of the Black Oak mitigation area. And these sites are circled in red on the corridor map and total about 483 acres. Federal grant awards, private donations, and generous contributions by the Basin Commission has supported this work since 2019, and it has included the day-to-day restoration work of the Lake County Parks crew within the river corridor, contract invasive species control, native plant installation, water control structure installation at Highland Rookery and MLK South Wetland, and project management support. This work takes a while, and in thinking in particular about like the control of invasive Phragmites, the rhizomes actually stay viable in the soil for up to 5 years. So that being said, we need at least 5 years of treatment to really see the change in these areas. That all being said, we really are starting to see the fruits of our labor. There is a noticeable decrease in invasive plant cover. Sandhill cranes, trumpeter swans, and other marsh birds are utilizing these sites once again. And we are seeing more and more patches of native plant communities crop up from the seed bank and in areas where we've installed native plant material. Our partnership is also taking a closer look at the changes in the plant communities through quantitative vegetation monitoring. Shifting gears a little bit, we'd like to now discuss the planning phase for some of our more large-scale complex projects. On this corridor map, again, we can see our big projects circled in red that include the Chase Street Complex and Marshalltown Marsh Complex. And I'll hand it back to Victoria to talk a little bit about Marshalltown Marsh.
Thank you, Peter. And the reason why he's passing that back is in our partnership, we all take on a variety of roles. And when it comes to the Marshalltown Marsh project, the Audubon Great Lakes team is leading the fundraising and management for this part of the project. And then TWI is taking the lead for the partnership on the Chase Street project. So that's why we're flipping and flopping here. What you're looking at is the 60% design, which was completed at the end of 2024. This showcases what was once a concept and now is a 60% complete plan, right? We are now fundraising to take it to 100%, but it's very inspiring and encouraging to think about what the possibilities might be. For example, on this slide, you might notice, I don't know if I can use the pointer. Over here, this you guys might refer to this as the MLK North wetland as part of the Marshalltown Marsh Complex. Over here's the wedge. There's also some public parks nearby, Ironwood Park, Peppermint Playground is in here. And then we have our historic Hatcher Park, which we view as the gateway into the entirety of the West Branch corridor. And within the 60% design plan, you'll see a couple of features. Over here in the MLK North wetland, this is where that culvert is currently being considered. The permit's under review by City of Gary. There's an opportunity to do river remeandering, which slows the water down, allows the vegetation to absorb it and provide those natural ecosystem benefits. A little bit of flood enhancement, right, or protection enhancement. When we move into the larger complex, there's a lot of opportunities to install a variety of different wetland habitat. And at Audubon Great Lakes, we believe anything that's good for the birds is good for everything else. And so the more diverse wetland habitat we can create for the more diverse bird species will have a cascading of beneficial effect on everything else. Now, as we move into the next phase, it's the final design. So we're the concept to 60% design. Now we want to do final design and permitting. To date, Audubon and partners in the collaborative have submitted 3 grant applications to fund this work. The most recent was submitted at the end of June, and we will hear back this fall on whether or not we are awarded. If so, our start date would be January 1st, 2027. The project would last through December 31st, 2028. And within this particular funding pipeline, they have implementation dollars available. So if we're successful with this grant, we're in the chute to apply for implementation dollars, which we would endeavor to do in the middle of 2028 to set us up for implementation at the beginning of 2029. So as I mentioned, planning is going to take a minute. It's going to be about 2 years. We're anticipating river remeandering, wetland restoration, concept design, public access, amenity design, thinking about fishing piers, thinking about bird observation decks, walking trails. And also, this is something I'm very excited about, we're incorporating matching leveraged funding from when we receive funding from the commission or federal grants, that helps us leverage foundation dollars. And we're going to be seeking about $175,000 to do an urban park master plan for Hatcher Park, which will dovetail into all the access amenities at Marshalltown Marsh. I'm talking too much about this. It's so exciting and I would love to talk to you more. But we also have a lot of community engagement built into this process. Audubon Great Lakes has a wild indigo nature discovery program, and we're hiring a new associate this year, and we are looking for candidates from the City of Gary. So I'll be reaching out to the commission in case you have any recommendations. And in the big picture, achieving that ambitious vision, largest urban wetland restoration in American history, well, we also have to establish our long-term maintenance plans and long-term stewardship plans. So the final design phase is going to incorporate that aspect so that we're set up for success before we even start implementation. After the planning phase is the implementation phase. At the 60% design, the estimate was $18 million for all of the project components with a 4 to 8 year timeline for completion. And so it's a lot. We have a lot of aggressive fundraising strategies in mind, but we wanted to be fully transparent and touching base with you today about the phases of this work so that there are no surprises moving forward. And then with that, I'm going to hand it to Peter to talk about the Chase Street Complex.
All right, so talking a little bit about one of our other, larger complex projects. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Chase Street. I know some of you have been out to visit the Chase Street complex in person, but for those of you who haven't, here is a concept map that illustrates sort of like our master plan for the site. And this project is also ambitious as it involves realigning a section of the Little Cal with its historic channel, restoring adjacent floodplain marshes and other associated habitats throughout the site, installing public access point and amenities throughout the 800-acre site to make it more of a community asset. And I really love how this map sort of like highlights all the possibilities between restoring this rich mosaic of different habitat types, including the floodplain marshes, wet meadow, floodplain forest, in addition to some of the possibilities for public access amenities, including viewing platforms, fishing pier, canoe and kayak launches, and those will complement existing parking areas. We have the pedestrian bridge over the existing Little Calumet channel. Furthermore, thinking a little bit about the flood mitigation benefits of this project, this won't necessarily increase flood storage capacity within the Chase Street area, but by realigning the river with its historic channel and adding an additional culvert going under Chase Street, this project has the potential to add conveyance of water through the site that will sort of facilitate the flow from west to east and help the site drain more quickly. So I always compare this to, or say that, we're not increasing the size of the bathtub, but we're adding another drain to that bathtub when we think about how water moves through the site. So with a recent National Coastal Resilience Fund grant, we recently completed 60% engineering and design plans for the site at the end of last year. We've actually received another NCRIF grant to complete final engineering and design and permitting for the project over the next 2 years. And we are currently waiting on bids for this next phase of design work. Really exciting. This next phase of work will also include more designs for public access and amenities throughout the site. Additionally, we've assembled a community advisory board in the first phase of work to help inform the design process. And they will also be involved in this next phase of work. And importantly, as Victoria also mentioned with Marshalltown Marsh, this final engineering and design phase will give us a more accurate cost estimate for the project and will identify ways in which we can phase the construction over a period of time. The preliminary cost opinion puts this entire project at about $22 million. But again, we're going to identify potential funding sources and ways to phase the work over a period of time. And this summarizes some of the potential funders for work like this. Again, we've had great success in securing large federal grants from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. We're pursuing funding from NOAA fisheries grants, in addition to other private foundations.
And I should also say that we have received funding through NOAA for the 60% design, which was completed by the Coastal States Organization. And in fact, one of our newest commissioners, Jenny Orsburn, helped facilitate that process.
So highlighting some opportunities with this work that we're doing, community engagement has always been a central component of this work and will continue to seek out community input and guidance in the restoration and public access development of these sites. And for implementation and long-term stewardship, we will prioritize local workforce development. Thinking about the challenges, of course, I'm sure you're all aware that securing long-term multi-year funding is a challenge, especially in making sure there are no gaps in this work. And given the big ticket construction projects, we'll have to phase the work appropriately and continue to fundraise for this work. So I really love this figure. This is a very powerful graphic because it shows that a total of over $3.3 million has been invested in this work within the corridor to date. Yeah, they're not seeing that. Since 2019, the Basin Commission has generously supported this work with over $1 million in awards, and we've leveraged these awards in securing additional federal grants and funding from private donors by a ratio of more than 2 to 1. So we see a significant multiplier effect here. And so for every dollar invested by the Basin Commission in this work, we've been able to secure, I think the exact amount is $2.23. And we'll continue to track this ratio, and we hope to make this ratio even bigger, especially as we get into some of the more big ticket construction projects. This table summarizes the Basin Commission's current commitment for 2026 for restoration, and we've attempted to project out what we will likely be requesting for restoration in the next 2 years. And this table is also found in the document that I presented you before this meeting. We know you all don't like to make multi-year funding commitments, but for the sake of full transparency, we figured we'd show you these numbers in case they could be helpful for budgeting purposes. Looking at the planning phase, in addition to commission requests for on-the-ground restoration work, we will be making match funding requests for the planning and design work of the large-scale Chase Street and Marshalltown Marsh Complex projects. Again, these figures are projecting out annual funding requests to help with the budget process. As I mentioned in the previous slide, TWI was recently awarded a NCRIF grant to complete final engineering design and permitting for the Chase Street Complex project. Since being awarded this federal grant, we've secured additional match dollars through fundraising efforts. However, we still don't have enough match funding to complete this work, which is a crucial step for moving forward with project implementation. Today, we are requesting $190,500 from the Basin Commission to support this final phase of planning work. This engineering and design process will happen for the remainder of 2026 and all of 2027. So if awarded, these funds will be spent over the course of the next 16 months. And this is summarized in the above table and in the table provided in your pack, in the document I shared with you. This amount will make up 16% of the entire project budget for this phase of work. And I'll hand it off to Craig to.
Get a quick update on the Lake County Parks and Recreation crew. We right now have 2 people on the crew. Our crew leader, Emily, is on maternity leave, so she'll be back by the end of the month. So we'll be closer to getting back to our full-size crew. We have another employee that we'll be hiring, so we'll get back to a 4-person crew, which is beneficial for us. The crew is still based at Lake Etta County Park, which is very useful for the crew, getting to the Black Oak unit and all the other units that they're working in, from the Heron Rookery to MLK to Grant Street Marsh. So the ease of access from there works really well. With that, we wanted to just mention some, and as far as the ongoing support, the $469,000 that was awarded back in the fall for this project, I would say up to this point, we've probably drawn down that by about half. We've got another reimbursement request coming in the next couple weeks. I think we're getting that ready. And then with that, we just have some discussion points with the commission, and you'll see them mentioned right here. So figure we could go through these and see if there's any questions or comments on that. So.
Thanks, Craig. Yeah, and so just to reiterate here, we are on track to spend down the funding that we received last fall by the end of 2026. Then the $190,500 that TWI is requesting to support the planning phase at Chase Street, that's in addition to the funding that we've already received. That funding would be spent between the time we receive it until the end of 2027. But not to complicate things, but we want to find a cadence that works for the commission to make ongoing requests. The restoration phase isn't going to stop, right? That's an ongoing process. And so somehow we need to figure out a way to, hit the right number with the commission to support that work year over year. We also, are moving into much more complicated aspects of the work. Completing the planning phases will, need a little bit more support. When we get to implementation phase, we're thinking really big ticket items, really big federal funding pots and so on. And so we are curious from the commission, are there any questions about Chase Street or Marshalltown Marsh and the planning phases? Any concerns? Is there any guidance from the commission on what kind of funding we should be requesting?
Mr. Chairman, I have several.
Go ahead, Mr. Brodnick.
Okay.
I'll ask. I don't.
Okay, so first of all, Victoria and team, thank you for the presentation. To address the associate candidate request, I would request that you or suggest that you reach out to Councilwoman Lori Lori Latham, Latham, City of Gary. She has some deep relationships with I think it's called Blackwater Professionals, and you might find some candidates there. With respect to the well, let me just address the question you asked, and I think the chairman will probably follow up on it. We probably will take it under advisement. I can see a number of different ways to consider your longer term request now. We can make it a separate project, and we'll probably take it under advisement at our next executive session or something to that effect. But I did have some questions specific to the presentation. Back from the beginning, you said your founder said that this is the largest urban wetlands restoration in American history. If you have sources or any background information supporting that, that would be great if you could just send it to the office, to the commission's office. I'm going to try to make this quick, so I won't, try to go back and forth with you. Also, Victoria, I see your PhD, and you said you guys believe that what's good for the birds is good for everything else. Are there any downsides to things like that? And the only reason, well, one of the reasons I make that query is I work for a chemical company that was also a long time ago that had done some great restoration work in South Louisiana. And with that work came migratory birds back and some other species, and it then limited our company from actually performing some of the operations that we need to perform for certain periods of time because of nesting seasons. Do you anticipate or any issues like that? Because this is a huge area.
Yes, thank you very much for those questions. I would absolutely take you up on your recommendation to contact Lori Latham for candidate recommendations. The visionary quote that Paul Watts put together, he did have references for that. They're not published. PhD, I understand publishing. They're not published and scientifically reviewed, but I think they could be if we went down that road. And so I will make sure to share out those references with the commission. And then when it comes to wildlife interrupting construction or other needed work, because we're operating within the levee system, I think we're going to be all right. I think where it's going to make the biggest headache for us is when we're actually contracting out to do the implementation work within the wetland systems themselves.
Okay.
And I'd just like to also add to that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Peter.
I would just also like to add that, as we receive some of these larger federal grants, we are required to follow certain like federal environmental regulations in considering like habitat disturbance for nesting birds and for bats and other protected species as well.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And then I had two other questions, Mr. Chairman, and I'll make them quick. Chase Street, Peter, you mentioned the remeandering through there. The question I had, and I don't know if you've already talked to Dan about this, is that looks like you're going to be changing the route of the river. And obviously we've done a lot of work through there. So I was just wondering if you've considered in the cost of that or complications or challenges working with us and our easement. And I mean, we don't want you to destroy anything that we've created. We understand you're trying to make it better. And then, and I'll just throw both of these out there at the same time so you respond. The last question I have is you both mentioned a 4 to 8 year timeline. I was just wondering if there are any potential challenges on the outside end of that timeline, 8 years. Like, does that still keep work going at a steady enough pace to where you don't have any negative consequences of delays?
Yeah, great question. So to answer your first question, in looking at the preferred remeander option for the river realignment and the Chase Street project, we did have our engineers in the 60% design look at, any sort of potential conflict that would have with existing utilities and core infrastructure on site. They think that it's feasible. And I will also add that in the 100% engineering design, we're also including a certain phase of that project that will involve what's called a fatal flaw analysis, in which the hired firm will take a closer look at any sort of conflict that would essentially, stop the project in its tracks. So we really want to get answers to those crucial questions before we continue on in this design process. But yeah, absolutely, we'll be looking into all of that.
Would the meandering also make it more difficult, for us to get access to certain areas?
Access is definitely a consideration, even in the 60% design. I know the firm we hired recommended that instead of doing like an open cut, that culverts through a new culvert through Chase Street would actually be better for access, or like allowing equipment to get across that area if there were any sort of like potential log jams or things like that. So yeah, certainly access and maintenance is something that we're considering in this design process as well.
The $18 million, did that include this re-meandering in this river?
It does, but that number could drop if that culvert replacement is completed. The price tag for that culvert replacement is included in that $18 million estimate. And so there are other circumstances that may arise along the way that will adjust that, that final number. But yes, to your question, it does include the river remeander.
I piggyback on Commissioner Broadnack's assessment. How is this going to affect the existing design and what we've done already? And is it going to impede what we've already accomplished? I think that's a concern.
That is a very good question. And nothing that we are proposing would jeopardize the integrity of the levee system. Everything that we're proposing would enhance the levee system. And so that when we get to the 100% design and permitting process, we will also do a fatal flaw analysis, and that will be a part of what we are considering. And we are very open to having a working session with the commission, bringing our engineering firms together with you guys to dig into the nitty-gritty issues at your convenience. We will drop everything with you if that is of interest. And we are also always very interested in taking you out on site. We were just out there with Dan at Chase Street a few weeks ago, kind of talking through this process and looking at where the culvert would go under Chase Street. And sometimes just getting your eyes on the site helps to, increase understanding and perception. So invitation is open.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, a compliment you on a fantastic presentation, and it's good to see the evidence between Lake County Parks working with the Audubon Society and with us. That's a great idea. A couple of questions is that are you have any knowledge of any projects like this in the country? And if you do, what has it done for the community? Did it upgrade the community as property values? Did the educational community get in there and bring children to schools for the environment? And all those things that the public can get a benefit from, because this is truly a massive project. When you said it's the largest in the country, I mean, that would put this Lake County on the map of the country. So I'm very excited about it, and I'd like to know if you can answer some of those questions.
Absolutely, Commissioner Castellanos, thank you for those questions. I had a wonderful conversation with a firm called Port Urbanism. They are urban park master planners with expertise in wetland restoration, and they walked me through several projects that they've done across the country that are doing just that, just not at the same scale that we're doing it. And so the idea that we have is to, with this new funding, to build in matching requests from our community foundations to support a firm like Port Urbanism to do that urban park master planning. And when you see some of the work that they've done, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, you talk about sculpture gardens, beautiful bridges and beautiful walkways and bike paths. And the way that they get there is that they have very deep and intentional community engagement throughout the process. So the city would be at the table, the commission is always invited to the table, and we'll be working with our Wild Indigo associate, hopefully from City of Gary, and all of our community members to figure out like what is it that Hatcher Park could be. And how is it going to connect into what's happening in the wetland system? How is that going to connect into Gary Elevated or the Marquette Greenway or Blueway Trail? We want it all integrated and seamless, and also spotlighting that we have an existing levee trail. You can go 10 miles on this river on your bike. And, we were just out at Highland Heron Rookery doing a plug planting event with some volunteers, the Highland Sustainability Group. And towards the end, there is this really strong man riding his very big bike on the levee. And he had to stop because our trucks were on the path and we're doing the plug planting. We had plants out. And I said, I'm very sorry that we're impeding your way. And he's like, well, what's going on here? And so I got to start to talk to him about that. And he's like, man, I love riding this trail. It's really exciting to think about like all of the things that you're bringing that's going to enhance that for me. So people are noticing what we're doing, and it is truly exciting.
Thank you.
Hey, Dan, did they submit an application?
No. This is,
Okay.
they didn't even tell me how much they're asking for, so.
Yeah. And the reason I asked that is because I know you said you were requesting
For the next meeting.
preferably an approval for next month. But okay, all right.
And that's a question, is I noticed that when other folks are making requests to the commission, they're filling out an application form from you guys. Is that what you want us to do? Because whatever works best for you is what we are going to do. And also, what time?
They don't do an application.
Okay.
Right.
They just do stuff like this.
Is this to meet a deadline for another application?
Thank you, Commissioner Orsburn. Yes, so the request that we're making today is part of the matching funds for the NCRIF grant that TWI received at the end of last year. It's currently underway. So the RFP for contractors to do that final permitting and design is already out. We're going to be soliciting bids. And in order to implement that aspect of the project, we need the matching funds to complete that full budget picture.
One last question, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
Thank you. The fatal flaw analysis that you talked about, so it sounds like this is typically done in the final stage of engineering, like most engineering stages are like 3 stages, 30, 60, 90, or third. Is there any way that is this fatal flaw analysis earlier in this final stage of engineering or later? Because you're asking
the
for
fatal
some
flaw
money.
analysis is essentially happening like midway through this engineering and design process. So as I mentioned, we just completed 60% design, and we will be proceeding with the final design and permitting. Fatal flaw analysis is going to be the first thing we have the firm do.
That's the question. Okay.
We're
Right.
proceeding with the remainder.
To get from 60 to
design.
100, you don't want to do all the way to 90 and then do a fatal flaw analysis and say,
Right.
oh,
That's
geez,
correct.
none of this works. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Regarding Marshalltown master plan. I saw on your graphic it's a 2-year process. So that's exciting, Victoria. And thank you for your presentation, audience. It's great. Like the passion. But in that 2-year period, can you just give an overview? There's a lot of community engagements, I would imagine.
Yeah.
How many planning sessions are you typically going to have?
So Commissioner Castellanos knows this, but I'm very impatient. And so in addition to applying for funding, we've been actively working with the city of Gary to activate the site and do whatever we can in the meantime. Because building a relationship doesn't start when you get funding, and it doesn't stop when the funding ends. Building a meaningful, real, genuine relationship means that you're engaged throughout long term. And so building those relationships with the city, as soon as they brought me on board at Audubon, I was like, Brenda, you know, I need to talk to Brenda Scott Henry, got connected with all the right people. We were trying to figure out how to take care of some burn piles, and there was no opportunity to do burning. And Brenda says, well, if you connect with the city on our community cleanup event, we'll bring out the city mulcher and we can take care of all of this. We took advantage of that opportunity to vision out with the city, to talk about everything that we're up to, get some real excitement. Reagan Hatcher was out. She's thrilled about this. We're standing there at Hatcher Park looking at the pool, and like the mayor's office was there, parks, public works, sanitary, sustainability. We're all standing around this pool and they're like, we can rehab this. We can do this. So, I mean, the vision, they understand the vision, the ambition, and what we're trying to achieve. And so, you know, that was just one moment where we had volunteers come out, the city come out. We had this big cleanup event. We took care of a problem in a creative way that worked for the city. And we're going to keep doing more. The city right now has an urban forestry fellow, and I've connected with him right away. We're going to plant some trees at Hatcher Park and hopefully at Peppermint Playground and Ironwood Park. And we'll do that with community and use that as another opportunity for site beautification, relationship building, community engagement. Once we get the funding, once we have our Wild Indigo person in place, that process will ramp up significantly. It won't be this, you know, me doing conservation management and all the community engagement. We'll have someone dedicated to that specifically, and it will be happening consistently over time. So.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
I got one last question. Have you been before the Lake County Council and the commissioners yet with this proposal? The Lake County Council and commissioners of Lake County.
No, we have not.
I think they would love to hear this.
Okay.
Okay.
May I reach out to you to find a way to connect with them?
Can you go back to the slide where you mentioned Oxbow on Chase Street area and just talk about or just public edification? What does that entail?
Yeah, so currently, the way the river runs, it goes from west to east. There's a historic river channel here on the west side of the Chase Street complex. And at this point, it joins this excavated incised channel that essentially bypasses the historic river channel as that water exits the site. So in our proposal, and that happened like over 100 years ago, based on aerial imagery and things that we can guess. Based on the design of the engineer that we hired for 60% design, they propose installing an additional culvert under Chase Street and under this abandoned street over here. I believe it's Taft Street. And in so doing, that would realign the river with its historic channel on the north side of the site. As I mentioned, this will improve conveyance because what will happen is during base flow conditions, the river will follow this meandering channel on the north side of the site. And then during like 2-year flood events, as the water rises, it will go over this ditch plug here on the original incised channel and re-engage it. So essentially during flood events, you'll get conveyance of water from the west side to the east side through both channels.
Unless nature fills it in.
Good. Yeah. Thank you very much. Great presentation. We really appreciate
I
it.
just have one more
Go ahead.
thing to say for the last slide. Jumping around here. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for your generous support of this work. You know, part of this work will be to better communicate the value of these projects to local communities. And we'd not only like to celebrate the milestones and successes of the collaborative, but also elevate the Basin Commission as an effective resource management agency. We recognize that while your purview is mainly flood control, the Basin Commission manages some of the largest swaths of contiguous protected green space in Northwest Indiana. And I think the image of your seal, you know, does a great job of portraying just that. A great blue heron among a tuft of native plants set in front of a wide meandering river, symbols of the ecological potential of this river corridor. So thank you.
You're very good.
Thank you.
Great. All right, folks, we're gonna move along here. I've got some new business on tap here. At 11.
Chairman. This is for the hard ditch stabilization. I'd like to make a motion to award a contract to Austin in the amount of $2,122,014, phase 5 of the hard ditch stream bank stabilization project.
You got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Mr. Repay.
At the last meeting, you guys declared phase 5 an emergency situation. We followed what state statute says, and that is get 3 proposals from companies that do this type of work. So we sent them out. We've got 2 responders. One was Gary Up, one was Austin Equipment. Our engineer recommends that we award it to Austin for the amount of $2.122, $14 even. The other proposal, just for the record, was $7.997 million and $950. After talking to them, they just had a different methodology on how they were going to go about doing the stabilization. They were going to go on the bank as opposed to Austin actually works in the channel. So that was the cost difference. The other third party didn't respond. So we would recommend awarding it to Austin. Stage 5 runs everything up to the utility easement where the bridges over ditches project is over on Fisher.
Any questions?
No concern about Austin's approach being in the channel versus on the bank?
No, because they've done it that way since they started when we were in Twin Creek. So that's just how they've done it ever since.
Roger.
Yep.
You got a motion and a second, Mrs. Lambert?
Tom Rosinski,
Yes.
Tom Gazdecki,
Yes.
Anthony Brodnick,
Yes.
Dave Castellanos.
Yes.
Ron Ware,
Yes.
Jenny Horsburn,
Yes.
Robert Ochi,
Yes.
Katie Fesco. Yes. Levon Whitaker.
Yes.
Moving right along. I have item 11B.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2026-13 and an interlocal agreement with the Lake County Drainage Board in the amount of $73,000 for the spring ditch culvert replacement project.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Repay.
Spring Ditch collects all the water from south of 45th between Kennedy and the boulevard all the way past US 30. So this is the only way for the water to go through. It's located just to the south of 45th, and we're partnering with Lake County Drainage Board, who has taken the lead on this culvert replacement. If it fully collapses, then we don't have really a way for Spring Ditch to drain to Katy Marsh.
Any questions, folks? I have a motion and a second, Mr. Lambert.
Tom Rosinski,
Yes.
Tom Gazdecki,
Yes.
Anthony Brodnick,
Yes.
Dave Castellanos.
Yes.
Ron Ware,
Yes.
Jenny Horsburn,
Yes.
Robert Ochi,
Yes.
Katie Fesco,
Yes.
Levon Whitaker.
Yes.
All right, moving right along. I have item 11C.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2026-14 and an interlocal agreement with the town of Winfield in the amount of $46,800 for the 117th Avenue Drainage Improvements Watershed Project.
Mr. Repay.
This
Have a
is,
second?
sorry.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a second. Mr. Repay.
Yeah, this is a project they're partnering with, they're asking for 8% of the design and the study of it. 117th is the main thoroughfare between Crown Point, Winfield, has had some overtopping during large rain events. We visited this once. They want to visit it again to see if we could come up with an alternative so that transportation and everyone could get from place to place in that particular up and coming growing segment of the population.
Any questions? There being none, Ms. Lambert.
Tom Rosinski,
Yes.
Tom Gazdecki,
Yes.
Anthony Brodnick,
Abstain.
Dave Castellanos,
Yes.
Ron Ware,
Yes.
Jenny Horsburn,
Yes.
Robert Ochi,
Yes.
Katie Fesco,
Yes.
Levon Whitaker.
Yes.
All right, next item is 11D.
Mr. Chairman, like to make a motion to approve resolution 2026-15, authorizing the opening of a debt service reserve fund.
Second.
And I have a second.
Second.
No, Mr. Whitaker was the second.
Oh,
That's okay.
I'm down.
Mr.
Yeah,
Repay.
for D and E both, but D is for debt service. We closed on the bonds, we're gonna have a closing, we're gonna end up with that money. We have to make sure that it doesn't combine with other funds. The debt service reserve fund has specific criteria. We cannot get more interest than what we are paying in interest on the thing. So we have a 3.7% interest, so we couldn't, in theory, have that. So otherwise, everyone would borrow a bunch of money and make money off this deal. So that's about the extent of it. We're just creating an account to put the money to cover our mortgage payment or our debt.
Per the state statute.
Absolutely. And per a lot of financial regulations by the State Board of Accounts.
Gotcha. You have a motion and a second. Mr. Lambert, are any questions, guys? Gals, anything? Mr. Lambert?
Tom Borshlinski,
Yes.
Tom Gazdecki,
Yes.
Anthony Brodnick,
Yes.
Dave Castellanos.
Yes.
Ron Ware,
Yes.
Jenny Horsberg,
Yes.
Robert Ochi,
Yes.
Katie Fesco,
Yes.
Levon Whitaker.
Yes.
Next item, 11E.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to authorizing the opening of a designated bank account for the Kennedy Avenue Bridge project.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second.
This would be our construction account, just has to be separated. For same reason, State Board of Account.
Any questions, folks?
And actually, the motion should be to approve resolution 2026-16. Is that true? Not just authorizing the opening?
Yes, we'd want to approve resolution
We
2616.
need to approve
Yeah.
resolution.
I think that's.
Would you like to amend the motion, Mr. Castellanos?
Sure.
Mr. Castellanos is going to amend the motion.
Okay, I'm authorizing the opening of a designated bank account authorizing for the
Approved.
Kennedy Bridge project.
You have to,
That good enough?
And approving.
you have to approve the resolution, Dave.
Approving the resolution for the opening of a designated bank account for the Kennedy Avenue Bridge project.
You have to say the resolution. You have to refer to 2026-15.
16.
For the record.
For the record.
Well, he has to do reference 15.
We're doing 2016, 26,
16.
Okay, here, I'll
Just need
say.
to know what the amendment is,
Sure, okay. Motion,
not the whole new motion.
I got you.
Only
Okay.
amendment.
So sorry.
Just amending.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-16, authorizing the opening of a designated bank account for the Kennedy Avenue Bridge project.
We good?
Good?
Good, but it's only as to the amendments. We need a second as to. the amendment.
I have a motion, an amended motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
I have a second.
So we need a vote as to the amendment only.
Yeah, the amendment only.
Tom Borshlinski,
Yes.
Tom Gazdecki,
Yes.
Anthony Brodnick,
Yes.
Dave Castellanos.
Yes.
Ron Ware,
Yes.
Jenny Horsberg,
Yes.
Robert Ochi,
Yes.
Katie Fesco,
Yes.
Levon Whitaker.
Yes.
We
But
good?
now we need a motion to approve the
Right,
resolution
resolution.
as amended.
Gotcha. I have a motion now. Do I need another motion to approve as amended?
Approve the motion,
Yes.
original motion as amended.
Oh, I need a motion to approve the motion as amended.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the, what again, please?
Original motion as amended.
Original motion as amended. Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Sure.
We have a second to approve the original motion as amended.
As amended.
Yes. This is Lambert.
Troublemaker with Schlinsky or Gazdecki.
Try to follow Robert.
That's not
We all know about Robert.
Gazdecki started this.
Okay, real good.
It's okay.
Orzachowski,
Yes.
Tom Godecki,
Yes.
Anthony Brodnix,
Yes.
Dave Castellanos,
Andrew, yes.
Yes, please.
Jenny Horsford.
Yes.
Robert Ochi,
Yes.
Kate Stetsville,
Yes.
Levon Whitaker.
Yes.
All right, folks. Our next meeting is August 19th, 2026. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.